I hosted a $1,000 cursed dating tournament over Discord, and honestly, the winner blew my mind. Like and sub for more. Stay weird, fam. Yo, everyone, and welcome to the first ever YouTube dating tournament. Woo!
Woo!
All right, wow, that was
so ready to date you guys. Let's go.
We should have practiced the woo.
All right, the woo is on point. That's even worse than like trying to high five someone and they answer with a fist bump. That's what that felt like. Today, in this lovely episode, we have Eye Candy.
Hi.
Anthony Padilla.
Hi.
Hugbees.
Hey.
Your catchphrase is hello. Did you forget it already? What's going on?
All right, hello.
Sweet. We have Genie.
Hi.
And we have Sens.
Hello.
Oh my god, as far as like introducing people, that was the most concise thing I've ever heard of. So today, I will be asking the lovely participants in this tournament for their worst/funniest dating story, and whoever produces the best content wins.
What do we win?
What do you win? That's a great question. I didn't think of it. I don't know, say $1,000? So, I was thinking we could do this alphabetical order.
Every collab, I'm always first because of my dang name. I
was
should have
afraid
thought
it
of
was
that.
me. Thank you.
Don't worry, Anthony. I've
Glad
got
you
you
took it.
covered, man. Let me set the scene for you all. I was young, naive. I think like 24. I had been ghosted by a guy I liked. What?
Yeah, 24, young. How old are you now, if you don't mind me
The
asking?
ripe young age of
Don't
24.
know. No, I'm 29. Anyway,
Hey.
so young, ripe, nubile, 25.
Basically
But no, I
just
got-
born.
Basically just fresh out of the barely 18 tag. I was ghosted by a guy that I liked. And so I was like, I'm going to go out to a bar and talk to someone. I am very awkward around people in general. And so there was a guy and I saw him at the bar and I thought it was cute. So I was like, what are you drinking, my sir? Like, I didn't say that. I said, what are you drinking?
Wow.
Go
You
to
took
Scotch
your
on the Rocks.
fedora at the same time?
Yes. So this guy, I was like, this is my move. I'm going to ask him what he's drinking and then buy two and then give him one and wink and walk away. That's what I did. Now, this guy was 3 inches shorter than me. I won't give exact heights, but he was shorter, but he was very cute. And I was like, he has a good energy, very well groomed, like look like a little greaser dude. You remind me of Scout from TF2. I like that about you. A couple of hours later through the night, we're like looking past each other at the bar. And eventually he comes over and my friend says, I don't like this guy. He gives me bad energy because I think he had very intense eyes, which will come up later. Anyway, so she's like, I don't like him. I'm going to leave you with him because I don't want to be around him. He scares me. I was like, it's fine.
I like how your friend says, seems dangerous. You can go alone with this person.
Yeah, you handle it. I'm out.
Yo! If you want to help support your boy and also grab some delicious goddamn drinks, go to gfuel.com and enter the code NUX or click the link in the description to get yourself 10 to 30% off your G Fuel order. It supports your boy, it's 0 calorie, it tastes awesome. Grab some, I appreciate you.
We're just hanging out, talking about video games. He's really into war games, like really into planes, World War II specifically. Not the first guy I've talked to who's really into World War II. Apparently it's a very big fandom or something. I don't know.
I
very
don't know,
big first
I don't know
point
if
of
that's the
interest.
word I would use.
So somehow that segued into like cannibalism. And he was
Makes
like,
sense.
oh.
The other main hobby,
the most romantic thing you can do with a partner is to cannibalize them. I was like, haha, you're so funny, you're so funny.
JoJo's Part 4 music starts playing.
And he just kept saying really off the cuff weird things. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. You're cute. I wasn't fully listening. And then my friend had left the bar and I was alone with this guy, a little bit tipsy. And he was like, well, how are you going to get home? I didn't have money for a cab. So he's like, oh, well, I'm going to my friend's house. Do you want to come stay over there? I was like, sure. Man who said cannibalism is romantic. Why
yeah,
not?
this is a great
And
idea.
so-
Did you have any like
It's-
spare pickled fingers in the fridge for him?
Did he say,
Buddy-
like, you'll love my mom? She died in 84.
Oh my god, we're just getting started. So we go out of the side of the bar. He walks away like towards an alley, and I was like, oh, what do you like? And I started trying to follow him. He's like, no, you stay here. I have to go buy icing sugar. And I was like, okay, that's weird, but all right. So he came back with a little bag of quotation marks icing sugar, and I was like, ah.
I'm fully convinced that you die at the end of the story.
This is a Netflix original movie you're ripping the plot off. Come on now.
So we go back to his friend's house. He and his friend just do lines of icing sugar off an acoustic guitar and talk about communism and the government.
Lines
Okay.
like snort lines? Snort sugar?
Oh,
Yes.
you don't mean actual icing
Yeah.
sugar.
No.
Okay.
It was like 4 a.m. in the city. He went into an alley and came back with a little bag of white dust. What do you think? And then it came to the end of the night. they had come down from their sugar high and they were like, we should probably go to bed. There was one couch. His friend went to sleep in his room. We curled up on the couch because, whatever, there's nowhere else to sleep. And he whispers to me, oh yeah, by the way, I do have a girlfriend. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Honestly, that's not the weirdest part
Did he
about
say
it.
she's in my tummy?
And then nothing happened. We just slept, woke up the next day. A couple of weeks later, he let me know they broke up and we went on a date.
You went out with this guy.
like that.
Wait,
A couple of weeks later, I bought a piece of art off of him because I wanted an excuse to meet up with him. It wasn't good, but I bought it. It was like 2 p.m. on like a Sunday. I go to a pub, walking down the street, all cute, dolled up. He's like, let's meet up. We'll meet up here. We'll get drinks. I was like, sure. Walked in, sat down. He's like, oh yeah, I have a new girlfriend now.
what?
And I was like,
Oh my
what?
gosh.
Turns out he broke up with his girlfriend to hook up with his other girl he'd been flirting with on the side. Where did I fit into all of this? Who knows? You'd think ideal world, I would have walked out. Not so. I paid $100 for a piece of art, went to the bathroom, cried for 10 minutes, came back, and you think I left then? No. I bought like 3 pitchers of beer, sat there for like 3-4 hours while he just talked about video games, and then I left. And that was the end of that.
Oh my god.
Wow.
My God.
He said some other stuff, and then I was like, you know what? Perhaps I shouldn't talk to this guy anymore. That's the line.
Did you at least get some icing sugar for your troubles?
Wasn't allowed to have any because I didn't pitch in.
Wait, did he have your beers that you ordered?
Yeah, no, I bought drinks for him and me. I bought the drinks. He said,
You
hey, can you
invested a
cover
lot
the
of money
drinks?
into this man.
Yeah. You made direct moves. You found opportunities to see him again, and he still was just kind of like, nah, I've got like 7 other women in waiting.
I like how this guy's like gets away with talking about cannibalism and stuff, and still women just cling to him.
Maybe that's the key. Men should talk about cannibalism, and that's how you're gonna get so many.
There is a
writing
great
this down, hold
moral
on.
to this story, though. If there are
Hold on,
any
I'm taking notes.
cannibals or commies or World War II fans in that
icing
watch the
sugar
video,
addicts.
hey, you still
No.
have a shot. Just move to Australia.
Green Man is out there somewhere.
Yeah.
I will say that at one point he did say he'd kill me if I ever talked about him, so I'm curious to see how this plays out. But I mean, the thing
you're
is,
an AI.
like, literally I could pick him up and throw him in the, like, he's tiny, so it's
Aw.
fine. I could fight him. That's my favorite story purely because I almost followed someone into a drug deal.
And you followed a potential cannibal.
I would say you almost died, yeah.
It's just very bizarre. I feel like there's better stories. That one was just very strange and a lot of weird red
I don't
flags.
know. Almost
Me
dying
being dumb.
probably is hard to top.
But if anyone can top it, it's Anthony.
Well, first of all, I apologize to anyone who's heard me say this story before. I have said it before, but I'll give you some exclusive details. So don't click away yet. Sorry, I was trying to, keep people for retention. I hope that worked.
Oh, that was sick. I'll put an ad right here.
So I was at the ripe young age. I was 12 years old. I don't even know if it's legal to talk about this story, like technically. I don't even know if I was technically together with this girl or not. I think I said, will you be my girlfriend? And she said yes. She asked me if I will go to a movie with her as like a date. So we were sitting there. There was maybe 3 people sitting somewhere near us, and then like 2 people. So that is the entire theater. We are watching the movie Love and Basketball. I don't know if that's relevant. I don't know if anyone is the ancient age that I am to even know that this movie exists. I will just say I didn't watch any of the movie though, because we did some kissing. That was the first time I had ever really explored that area. By the time I looked up, the 3 people that were in front of us had left, and it was just us and this couple. The girl that I was with looks over at me and whispers, "Am I allowed to say penis?" She's like, "See your penis?" And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? First of all, I am 12 years old. That came out of nowhere. I have no idea how to respond to that. So I'm like, there's other people in the theater. That's weird. I'm not gonna do that. Right as I say that, the other 2 people in the theater get up.
Oh, no.
They heard it. They wanted you to get in there.
So
and
maybe.
that couple was like the ultimate wingman.
The wingman I did not want to have. I was looking for any excuse to get out of this circumstance. I really didn't have much of a choice. Or now I know I did, but as a 12-year-old, I'm like, well, that's it. I have to submit and say yes. Luckily, the lighting was really low. I was like, I'll probably get away with this. It won't be that big of a deal. So I pull it out, and she looks at it and kind of looks a little shocked, and then she pokes it with her fingernail and then runs out of the theater. And I'm just sitting there like, only person left in the entire theater.
You probably thought you had sex.
I pretty much did. It was like kind of traumatizing. At the same time, I was like, no words were said, mind you, just a poke and a run away. And I'm just sitting here in the theater like with it out. by myself. And I'm like, well,
God.
that was weird. And I get up and I walk out, and right as I walk out of the theater, I see her like barely running into a bathroom. She comes out and I'm like, hey, what happened? What's wrong? She's like, oh, I just washed my hands. I was like, what? Why? Why'd you, what? And she was like, I just touched your penis.
Yeah, you're the
I was
idiot.
like, true, you should wash your hands. You poked it out of your own volition, but you should wash your hands. That was just the most awkward thing ever, getting into the car and getting a ride back home with her. And it kind of fizzled off there after she cheated on me with a couple guys. I go to school the next day. I am walking in the hallway and there are all these people whispering and looking at me that I kind of know her through friends of friends.
Oh no.
And then I hear that there's this rumor going around that I have like a mythically large serpent in my pants. So I'm like, okay,
All right.
I will take that.
Net positive.
I will take that. Net positive, I would say.
Yeah.
That helped me recover from the trauma pretty quickly because I was like, oh, yeah. And then I didn't think about it again until like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, what is this person up to that is just, the reaction that she had was just so strange. I go to her page and she is happily married to a woman. So maybe I helped her see that she's not so into the things that were in my pants.
Wow, that was like a positive.
That's a feel-good ending, yeah.
God,
Yeah.
that went from like
Very
really
wholesome.
traumatizing to wholesome.
It was wholesome. It was terrifying. It was cleanly.
See, this
liked
would
it.
not be a Netflix original. This is like a Disney Plus story, if any.
This ends in like a wash your hands type,
Yeah. If it were the 90s,
situation.
there'd be like a group of dancing animals to rap about what happened and like recap it. Yeah.
It's also
Just
like
the
a
PSA.
convoluted humble brag as
Yeah.
well.
I was 12. I wasn't even fully done growing. I mean, like,
Tell that to
not
her.
as
The humble
spectacular.
brag continues.
Oh, guys. Okay, I gotta do a bit. So Nux Taku is recording a video right now, right? So I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna tell a funny joke that I found like yesterday.
What brings you
I-
here?
Hello.
I have no interesting stories, but I have a joke I'd like to tell.
You
Go
gotta
for
hear
it.
it.
Shoot.
Why did the scarecrow get what was it? Oh, wait. Oh,
Buddy, if you want to be big on YouTube, you gotta work on your delivery, bro.
It was really hilarious.
I got it. Why did the scarecrow get a promotion at his job?
Because he was outstanding in his field.
Because he was outstanding in.
Oh my God.
Sorry,
Oh my
I was ready. Sorry, wait, was I supposed to say why? Sorry.
Yeah, it was why?
Why?
He's crying now. He's crying in real life.
Why we?
Oh God.
It was
I've
funnier when
messed-
you
actually,
said
God,
it.
I was just stealing retroactively. I went to the future and stole your joke and then went back in time.
He's looking up more jokes.
I'll go find my Twitch page then.
How do trees get on the internet?
I don't know.
How?
How do they?
Ow.
He's out. That was.
Oh, they leave.
They leave.
Oh, they make like a tree and leaf. Oh, I get it.
They'll never know. They can't get me. They think they'll get the answer to the joke. Only you guys get it. They log in.
All right. Well, that was an interesting episode of random Discord shenanigans.
I just thought of what words that would be related to work and also farm, which is field, and then field is out.
Yeah.
And then out.
Yeah. You're
Wait,
on another level.
you never heard that before? You came up with that quickly?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's even more impressive.
Her story was incredible. Her fucking joke wit. How do we win?
All right, it
It's
almost
over.
sounds like you're trying to avoid telling your story, Hugbees, and it's your turn.
So my worst story is we went to Applebee's and she refused to split the bill. No, I'm kidding. That's not even remotely it. I wouldn't bring such a mediocre fairy tale to this round table of knights. The worst date story I've ever been on was 6-ish years ago. I was mid-20s, a plucky software developer man, and I was constantly doing the rounds on OkCupid and Tinder and whatever else was out there. I think Plenty of Fish. I was really slamming hard onto the like, oh my God, I need a woman in my life circle. Basically, I had no standards. I meet this girl on OkCupid. She's got some stuff in common. I distinctly remember she was like, I watch anime. And I was like, oh, I like anime. Okay, that could be a good branching off point. So I went, all right, let's do this. So we make plans on a Sunday where she doesn't have a car, but she goes, how about you pick me up at my house and we'll go somewhere for lunch and you can drop me off later because I have some free time during the day. And I went, that sounds quaint. That sounds lovely. Let's do that.
feeling it's
pull up-
not going to be quaint and lovely.
I pull up to her address, and the first thing I notice is she lives in a trailer park. Now, no judgment, just the way that we talked, it kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, okay, not what I expected, but perfectly fine. I was aware that she lived with her parents, which again, no problem at all. I mean, with the way things are now and the economy and the jobs and this and that, people staying at home longer and longer. What I want to make clear with those details is I went in with no prejudice. I had no initial thoughts on her except, you know, she seemed nice when we talked. So I park in the driveway, and across the street at one of the other trailers are two men, one of which is a very large, heavy-set man with a giant white beard, and there are a bunch of guns on the table. She comes out front and she goes, "Hey, you see that Santa Claus looking guy over there? That's my dad." And I'm like, all right. Good start. So I'm like, so where do you want to go? We could look at Google Maps and check out like the nearby restaurant. She goes, I'm not really hungry yet. Why don't we hang out inside for a bit and then we can go to wherever we want? And I go, I drove all the way here. I've already seen her dad. If he was going to kill me or kick my ass, he would have done it now. So let's go inside and hang out. What's the worst that could happen? So we go inside the trailer, and I am tall. I'm a 6'4" man.
Is this another story to talk about why your penis is really large? Is this really what this video is devolving to?
Humble brags all around.
Yeah, so anyway, I pulled out my hundreds of dollars, and I was like, oh, this is less than I normally have. But anyway, so I'm a 6'4" man, and the roof of this trailer, if you're looking at the video, is like, there's not a lot of room. So I could basically stick my hands up and pretty much rest my palm flat on the ceiling. To this girl, who is about, I think, 5'3", 5'4", a little bit shorter, she is astounded. She cannot get over this fact. She goes, "You're so tall. Wow, you're really tall. Has anyone ever said that you're like tall? Can you touch my ceiling?" And then she starts jumping and she goes, "I can't even touch my ceiling. I'm trying and I can't even reach it, but you can touch it." And I'm like, that's nice. So then her mom comes out, and her mom is very polite. Now, while this chaos is going on, this house is covered in animals. And midway through conversation, they start fighting over who's gonna feed the cats. So she's like, "Mom, I'm on a date. I have a friend. I'm not gonna feed him." And she's like, "It's your turn. It's Sunday. That's the day you feed the cats." And it's like going on for a pretty swallowable amount of time. And meanwhile, while they're having this tiff, the mom is bringing up stuff to me I don't know how to answer. And she's telling this to me. Like, these stories of these people I've never heard of with these circumstances, I don't know. And I'm trying to be polite. So then at some point, the mom sits down, like, just keeps rambling and rambling. And this girl is now trying to touch the top of my head by jumping. Literally going,
oh my God.
And eventually I have to look at her and like a child go, "Stop," because she won't stop. And her mom is trying to have a conversation with me. So her mom is rambling about this stuff and I'm listening in and out. And then she takes a pause and she looks at her daughter and she says, "Did you tell him about me?" And the daughter gets really kind of meek and quiet and goes, "No." And the mom looks at me dead in the eye and says, "I have cancer." She's like explaining all this stuff like, I don't know if my insurance is gonna get canceled and I'm really worried about the stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so tragic. But inside I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs.
Oh my
like,
God.
So the mom suggests, why don't you guys hang out in your room for a bit before you decide to leave? Because I think Dad's gonna want to come over and meet him as well, which I'm not looking forward to either, but what the fuck am I gonna do? So we go in a room and she sits on the bed and she goes, "Oh, so you want to watch something? I've got Netflix." And it's just so awkward. And I am immediately thinking, how do I get out of here? What do I do? And I just scroll through the anime and I go, "Oh, Dead Man Wonderland. I've seen that. It's good. Let's watch it." And I put it on. I literally put it on as quick as I can so I can just have an excuse to start browsing my phone. When the anime goes on, she kind of scoots over in bed and kind of like starts shuffling a bit like, hey, being
I don't know,
completely...
Dead Man Wonderland's not the most romantic anime.
Very cuddleable.
It was the one that saved my life, though. Knowing her intentions full well, I grab a chair next to the bed and sit in that instead. And while the anime is playing, I go on my phone and I am scrolling through every name in my fucking contact list. And I'm going, man, can you just call me? Can you come pick me up? Can you show up here and knock on the door and be all like, oh, you have to leave? Anything. I text one of my friends and I say, I need you to find a way out of this, please. And he calls me. I answer the phone and his name was David. And I go, hi, David. And he goes, hello, did you forget about the Blue Report? And I go, the what? Because like I'm actually confused. And he goes, the Blue Report, due today. And I immediately like look at her and then stare at my phone and I go, oh my God, the Blue Report. Ladies and gentlemen, I have never heard of the Blue Report in my life. At my job, I never even filed a report. So I talk to him and I go, and there's no way we can extend it. I have to be in the office right now. And he goes, yes, you have to come to the office immediately. And I go, well, if I've got to be there, I have to go. So I look at her and I go, yeah, unfortunately work. I apparently got to get something in by today because they need it for Monday. So I gotta go. She walks me out very slowly, very hesitantly, not wanting me to leave. And she's like, are you sure you can't just come back later or we could work something out? And I think twice more she tries to touch the top of my head because she's like, I just love how tall you are. I'm like, yeah, I really just gotta get going. We can text though. I got your OK Cupid. We can message on there. And she's like, is there any way maybe we could like, I could go with you and hang out there until you're done? And I was like, nope, bye-bye. Monday, I'm back at work and she messages me on the app. I thankfully didn't give her my phone number. And she's like, hey, I'm sorry if I was really awkward. I just, I thought you were really cute and, it was nice having you over. And I just was cordial and I was like, yeah, it's okay. Things happen, whatever. And then she said, I was just hoping that next time you come over, we could maybe kind of, snuggle up. And then I blocked her and I have not heard from her since. And that was the worst date I have ever been on.
That's yikes.
I've had tons of awkward dates. She is the only date I've ever had to actually scold like a child. So yeah, that is my worst story.
These are some really good stories. Holy shit.
Yeah. Jesus.
All right, well, Jeannie, it's your turn. If I could grab your brief attention for but a brief moment, we'll be right back into the shenanigans, never fear. This video is sponsored by Raycon earbuds. Absolute legends. They support the channel, and I can't thank them and you enough for helping me out here because, well, YouTube doesn't like all the shenanigans I pull, and genuine sponsors that I love make me so happy to be able to do what I do. Raycon earbuds, especially of the everyday variety, are the future for literally everyone. Despite having the same sound quality as all of the premium earbud brands, Raycon starts at half the price of other premium audio brands, but they sound just as good, and they come with a 45-day happiness guarantee return policy. They look sleek, they don't dangle out of the ears, and they come in all sorts of colors where all sorts of celebrities actually wear them. Not to say that I am a celebrity or anything, because I'm not and I don't want to be, but I love my Raycons. I wear my Raycons all the time. Literally. You take them off, you slip them in the charging case, and they just last for so long. It's surprising every single time. I find myself only needing to charge them like once a month despite using them like every single day. And optimized gel tips for the perfect in-ear fit. There's also a built-in mic, which you can take calls at the press of a button. Say goodbye to the past. Say goodbye to the dangling wires out of your ears that you put in your pocket, and then they become this weird knot that you can never undo, and it takes you 45 minutes to open them, and they catch on things, and it's so freaking annoying. Screw all that. Look sleek, look chic. It's the future. Raycon earbuds. Pick up a pair. So go to buyraycon.com/Nux to get yourself 20% off your order. Click the link in the description, buyraycon.com/Nux. Support the channel, support Raycon. It's a win-win, literally. They're extremely dope, and I take them around with me wherever I go. Thank you so much again, Raycon, for sponsoring this video. I very much appreciate you guys. Big kisses. And thank you for watching. On with the video. I will admit, I know your story, and I think it's really funny.
It's weird though, because mine, it wasn't a date, but I guess it's like my first time meeting my now 5-year boyfriend. Long ago, when I was still pursuing med school, one summer I thought like, I want to really meet a YouTuber. It's my last summer off before I have to like really get into studying and like really hit the books. And then during this time, there was a channel called MXR Mods that I used to watch. The guy running it, his name is Henry. He also released like vlogs here and there saying, oh, I just moved from New York to LA and I would really like it if like I can hang out with fans, because he doesn't have any friends or family here. And so he's like, if you're a fan and you know LA, like hit me up and then we can meet up. And I was like, this is like my one chance. And so I emailed him. And I was like, if you would like, I'd like to show you around Santa Monica. And I thought he wouldn't respond because at the time, like, he has so many fans. He probably has like millions of emails he has to go through. And then like the next day, he emails back saying, yeah, sure, I'd love to. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting like this YouTuber that I've watched before, and this is gonna be amazing.
Wait, so
I was
this
like,
really
yeah, let's set
doesn't
up
sound
a
like
date.
a date.
Right? So it's not supposed to be a date, but I guess it's like the most awkward first interaction.
No. I'm not saying
She's disqualified.
No. I'm not saying you're disqualified. I'm just saying Henry told me this story, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I came to LA. I went on my first date with Jeannie," and then he told me the same story.
So I was like, okay, this is gonna be really exciting. So we set up a date and a time. He said he didn't have a car, so I would drive from my hometown an hour away from where he was living at. And so I was like, okay, I'll drive there, and then I'll drive him to Santa Monica and back. I'm also a very like introvert, nervous, shy person. So I normally rehearse like, okay, maybe I'll ask him about what he thinks of LA. And then like I have a list of questions of what to ask him. I saw him walk out. He was carrying a drone. And then he just says like, oh, I'm gonna be vlogging. That's fine, right? And then I kind of already knew at the time. And then so my focus was on meeting up and also making sure like he has a good video. I started the car and we're driving, and then I thought a conversation would kind of start off. The thing is though, his body language, as soon as he got in the car, I've never seen someone do this. He closes the door and then he positions his body all the way to the passenger door side and is like facing out the window, his back against me. He's not even like sitting back relaxed. He's like edged up against the door. I'm like, okay, so I guess he doesn't want to talk. So I just didn't say anything. And I'm like, well, goodbye script. I just like turned up the music, and then he's like, oh, I have to vlog. So I was like, oh, okay. And then when I turned the music on, he busts out the camera. He gets into the voice like, dude,
Guys, I'm trying to vlog the worst date of all time. Let's go.
And then after he's done with the vlog, it's quiet again. And then he just turns toward me and he's like, so yeah, I have this like DSLR camera. And he just starts like telling me the specifics of his camera. I'm like, okay, cool. I have no idea about cameras, but the whole time I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, please let us get there faster. Please let us get there faster. And we finally made it there. And I was like, okay, now like maybe as we're walking, like we can chat. But the whole time, like he's like checking his camera and like constantly fiddling with stuff. And I was like, okay, let's just get him on a ride, get him some good footage, because he seems really, really obsessed with this vlog. And so I was like, where would you like to go? And he's like, the Ferris wheel. I'm like, oh my God, that's like the worst ride to ride on for two people who don't really talk to each other, because I would think a Ferris wheel is really romantic. And then he's like, oh, because I want to get good shots up there. And I was like, oh, okay.
So wait,
And
why did he frame this to me as a date? Oh my God.
I don't know. I guess like hindsight, he's like, oh, what a lovely time together.
He did not tell me any of this stuff, by the way.
Really? So what he sees is what the vlog saw. And for me, it's like, I remember what the camera does not remember. So we got on the Ferris wheel and we're sitting across from each other. Because he's fiddling with his camera, I don't want to be rude and like ask him some other stuff. I don't know when's a good time to like conversate, because he's always on the camera. So I was like, okay, I'll just be an accessory and I'll just sit here quietly. And then he like pointed the camera up at me even at one point. So I was like, oh, like, hi. And he's like, no, I want the building behind you. I was like, oh, sorry. It's
Oh my God.
I like looked over.
Oh my God.
And then that's when I was like, okay, just get through this day and like just get out of his camera view, just do whatever you need. And then in my mind, I'm like, wow, like I guess this is how YouTubers are. They're just
Not wrong.
That was, I think, the peak highlight of how bad it was, because the other rides were like more fast paced. So then I had fun myself. So I was like, okay, it's fine. And then when we
So you
went
might
to
as
the
well have been there
beach-
alone at that point.
Pretty much.
Shockingly, after he turned off the camera and we were heading back to the car, that's when he just turned towards me and was like, so how old are you? And I was like, oh, okay.
Small talk. The small
yeah,
talk,
he's like,
talk starts
so,
like.
and I'm like, oh wow, he's like finally opening up. But as soon as we get to the car, he just sticks his body all the way to the window and just looks out the window.
Oh God.
And-
Wait,
and
does
I'm
he
like,
still
oh,
do
he's-
that, by the way?
I asked him why he does that, and he's like, I just like looking out the window. That's just how I like being in the car. But at the moment, I had no idea. So the whole time driving back, I was like feeling like, oh my God, he hates me. He must just not like my voice. He must find me really annoying. So I'm like, I began feeling bad. So my mission was to get him out as soon as possible. And then I knew he said he liked fried chicken. So then I was like, oh, I know a really good fried chicken place. And then I took him there. And then surprisingly, during the dinner, we talked a bit more. And then he started joking. I was like, oh, wait, so he is okay with me. We had a nice dinner. We were walking back to his apartment because I parked my car there. For some reason, I thought people do handshakes when they depart because I was like fresh out of college. And in college, people do handshakes to be professional, I guess. And so I saw him extending a hand and then I was like, oh, so do you do handshakes? And he's like, I want my chicken. I was carrying the leftover chicken and I said, oh, this can be for you because I don't need it. And he was carrying a camera. He's like, I want my chicken. I was like, oh my God, it's back to thinking he doesn't want to even touch me. So I was like, okay, high five? And he's like, okay, yeah, high five. And then we like high fived. And I was like, all right, thank you. Bye. And I just like jetted out of there being like, I'm never seeing this guy again. I was really surprised when I saw the vlog he uploaded later. It seemed okay. Yes, very awkward, but like pretty okay. So I was like, oh wow, he actually got good footage. I think a couple weeks after that, he texted me being like, do you want to go on a date? And I was like, what? What? How did that translate to this?
So smooth.
It's weird though because I see how he interacts with like new people, right? And he talks a lot more than when he and I first met.
Was he nervous or what? Did you ever find out?
When he vlogs, he gets very stressed because all he can think about is like, what's the thumbnail? Where is the story of the vlog going? Am I getting good shots? I feel like if you're extroverted and good at meeting new people, maybe you could pull off vlogging and meeting new people. But if you're not, then it's like double whammy. On that first date we went, he actually talked more, but the night ended with him being like, at 4 a.m., he's like, I'm really hungry and I really want McDonald's, so I'm gonna go. So I was like, okay, this man has interesting priorities, but all right.
Fried chicken is his priority, it sounds like.
I guess I'm next. Woo!
If you win, does nothing happen?
If I win, I donate $1,000 to myself, but I won't win. It's not really the date story that's weird, but it's around the ambiance of this scenario. So as you may know, if you follow me on Twitter, Fifi and I have really interesting conversations. Every YouTuber I speak to asks me if I'm dating Fifi. Everyone.
I could see that. It's not outside of the realm of possibility.
It's hilarious when someone else will say something like sexual under one of Fifi's tweets, and I'll get added under that like a million times. Wow, Nux, they're talking to your girl like this. It's gotten to the point that I can't mention her without someone saying, because you're dating. So it's gotten really awkward in every single conversation.
You never said that you weren't dating.
I didn't.
Yeah, he never
I didn't say that.
discounted.
You never
I'm
you
just
never
mentioning
explicitly
that it's
said
funny that people are saying that we are. Not saying that we are, but I'm not saying it's very, very weird. Also, on my date this week, somebody told me that being that I have a light complexion, I'm of the master race, so I should be giving them commands.
Well, did you or what?
Did you go on a date with the guy that I went on a date?
Oh no, you misunderstand. This was the waiter talking to me.
Did you switch to dating the waiter? Sounds like he wanted it.
He would come up to our table and he would say, "Happy anniversary." And I said, "This is not like an anniversary." And he'd say, "Oh, my mistake." And then he'd come back like a few minutes later. Like I asked him for water and he said, "Oh, well, you're of the master race, so of course you should be giving me commands."
Are you sure he was a waiter and not a man who just snuck on like an Olive Garden uniform?
He brought the food. He was the waiter.
From in an alley in the back.
And then he told me and my date that you're both good-looking people. You will have beautiful children.
Nice. Confirmed, Nux is a beautiful man.
Let's go!
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the weirdest dinner of my life. I didn't feel like I should compete in my own tournament. I just felt like this was funny enough to me.
No, you're right there.
No,
you're
that
up
was
there. You're at
definitely-
least one or two
Yeah.
spots.
I say Nux wins. That's it.
Yo!
It's over.
Yeah, I like that actually. That's a great idea. Anyway, sends.
Okay, I'd like to preface this with this girl was a lovely lady, and I don't mean this to deface her.
Don't worry, that's not gonna make it to the video.
You know that girl that like you have a crush on, but you just never actually speak to? You just look at them and you're like, wow, they're like pretty attractive. So there's this girl that I had a crush on but never spoke to, and that actually adds to the story later. At the end of high school, one of my friends who was friends with her had known about my crush about like with her the whole year or whatever, and was like, dude, it's like the last day of school, you should go for it. I was like, no way am I gonna do that. Hell no. So my friend asked her out for me, and she said yes, but I didn't actually get to speak to her before picking her up. I went to her house and I her dad answered the door and she was like, "Are you the guy?" Like he just called me the guy, and I was like, "Yeah, hi, what's up?" And then he sat me down on the couch, and he's like, "How well do you know my daughter?" And I'm like, "Oh, I mean,
Oh no.
You're like, I've watched her from afar for many years.
good." I was like, well, we're classmates, and I don't know her that well, but I've always like, she seems really nice, so I thought I'd try to get to know her." He was like, "Wait, so you've never, spoken to her?" And I was like, "No, why?" And he was like, "Oh, well, she's deaf." I was like, "What?
Yikes.
What? Like, does she read lips? Like, what do I do?" And he was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
no worries. She reads lips. You'll be fine. But you should know that she can't really hear that well."
Damn.
And I was like, "Wow, well, that's a big bomb to be dropped on me." So I picked her up, and she lost her hearing like later in life. So you know how when people do that, they can still kind of speak. So she could still communicate with me. So that was good. So like I picked her up, and like I was like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And she was like, "Well, we should go watch a movie." I was like, "Okay, well, do you want to go get some like Starbucks first or something, some like coffee?" Well, she like hesitated, and I was like, "Well, we don't have to." And then she was like, no, it's fine, and the hesitation will come back to bite me later. She was like nervous and probably just didn't want to think about it, so she let me order her for her, which she shouldn't have done, by the way. Okay, so later while we went to the movie, I thought I heard something like because she was sitting right next to me, and like it sounded like a fart, and I was like, no way. The movie went fine. Like it was kind of hard to talk to her, the movie and stuff.
It's probably
But
hard for a
then-
lot of people to talk to her, yeah.
Oh my god. Anyway, so then we went to dinner, and at the dinner, it was like one of those kind of like upper middle class restaurants where it's not too loud. It's not like kids yelling everywhere. It's kind of like quiet, like people are making like light chatter. And she rips the fattest ass that I've ever heard from a person in my entire life. And I looked at her for a reaction to like, because there's no way that's a vibration. You can feel that, right? Even if you're deaf.
You were able to feel it from across the
Yeah.
table.
But I looked at her for a reaction, and she just like smiled at me as if nothing happened. So I think what happened was when she farted in the theater, that was her thinking that she was doing a silent fart. That was like a test run. So when I didn't say anything or look at her weird, she assumed that she had like figured out the cheat code to how to fart silently. So she ripped the fattest ass I've ever heard in my life from another human being.
Oh, no.
And this wasn't once either. Like people looked around at her, and she didn't notice the people looking. Thank God, because I didn't want her to feel embarrassed. But I noticed it, and it was so hard not to laugh. Like I just was smiling like really bright. So
You should have just screamed.
she thought I was having a good time, so the smile was okay. Looking back on it, I honestly am impressed. Like props to her. So yeah, she not only once, but like she probably farted 3 times in total, and all 3 times it was really loud farts. Which, by the way, I had figured out later that she was lactose intolerant. That's why she was hesitant on the coffee. That whole time she thought she was doing these like sneaky farts to like combat it, and like everyone heard her. Honestly, to this day, I never told her.
Now, little do you know,
Yep,
she's
yep.
talking to her friends right now going, "Dude, I ripped the fattest ass with this guy. He's so funny."
And
he
I
didn't
was
say
still
anything
charming.
to
He didn't say a
all.
goddamn thing.
What she saw was like a textbook good date. Like to her, it was a great date. Like we had fun.
Aw.
Nothing went wrong.
Aw, that's
So-
Man, you got the best of both worlds. You got a great date, and you got to like laugh at some real hard ass ripping.
It was like some really clean farts, like those soundboards farts they put in movies that are like loud as shit.
Yeah.
If I had somehow recorded them, you'd be impressed with like. Actually, you know what? It was something like this.
Shit would be on it.
Well,
Impressive.
That was a nice, fine assortment of terrible stories.
This was pretty whimsical. Like I could see that as a Disney comedy movie or something.
It honestly added to the comedy because, like I said, we were at like a upper middle class restaurant, so there was like that jazz, the like smooth jazz music playing in the background.
Yeah, when it first happened, did like someone's monocle fall into their drink or something?
Just like in the Disney movie, you had like the older white woman and be like, "My word!"
And then you have the other older white woman say, "I'll have what she's having."
Thank you so much for joining this lovely event. And the way I figured we would decide who gave the greatest story is if each of you DM me privately whose story you think should win. In 3rd place, Hugbees with a single vote.
Ooh, I finally remembered to
Nice.
vote for myself. Let's go.
Let's go. In 2nd place, Anthony with 2 votes.
Let's go.
Ooh.
And in 1st place with 3 votes, Eye Candy.
I don't feel proud of this.
Yeah.
It did involve me
You
almost
almost
dying.
got eaten.
I spent so much money. Adultery, cannibalism, drugs. Like,
Look at that. It paid off. Maybe you broke even with this $1,000.
I'll buy
That
you all
is-
Starbucks and fried chicken. No, I spent over $200 on this.
Well, all of
Well,
a
you made it
sudden,
back fivefold.
Net
Oh,
made
God.
$800 on this dude.
Now you have a happy ending to the story.
Everyone had really good stories. It was really interesting to hear everyone's experiences.
It was fun.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you all
Hell
so much
yeah.
for joining, and take it easy. Like and sub for more. Stay weird, fam.